Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Hashkafa Shir of Yeshiva's YouTube. We are learning the Sefer, The Real Me, which is an English translation of the Sefer called Batsasa Tancheni, written by Rabbi Yaakov Bashkovsky of Modi'in Elit, otherwise known as Kiryat Sefer. Kiryat Sefer is actually one of the neighborhoods in Modi'in Elit. Chapter 3 we're up to, and this chapter is titled Wants versus Desires. We're trying to figure out, the book says the real me, here's trying to figure out the real I, right? I is supposedly evil, iPhones, any connection to the word I is like selfish, it's terrible, but it's clear from this chapter that is not the kavanah of the author, that is not the intention of the author. The author seems to imply that the I is a good thing, that he's just trying to find the real I. And he says, he calls wants versus desires, right? He says that there's always, I usually is what I want, right? But what I want is not always the best thing for me. Sometimes you want two different things, which seem to be it, right? I want to smoke, he brings an example, but I want to be healthy also, right? So which one do you want? Which one is the real you? Will the real you stand up? The real me, the real I stand up? Which one is it? And he brings another example about this guy named Ray Goldstein. I don't know if there's a real person or not, but he was a teacher in yeshiva, a ram, or a teacher in high school, and he was a very good teacher, and all the parents loved him, and they loved him to the point that they wanted to call him at night and take up his time. How my kid doing? Did he ask a good question today? I don't know if this really exists. High school rabbeim. I don't know if this parents really do this, but he was so good they were calling him every night, and he didn't have so much time for himself. He was busy, had a busy schedule. He had nights there to go learn. He ate dinner with his wife. I mean, he had time to watch Netflix. He didn't want to take these calls, but he felt he was being rude not to take the calls or to ask them to shorten the calls, and he would stay on the phone for a long time with these people. So really, he wanted to be known. He wanted his reputation to be solid as gold, and everyone would say great things about him. But he also wanted time for himself. So which one was it? Did he want the reputation more, or did he want his time? So he implies that, I think, obviously, he was staying on the phone. A lot of times people stay on the phone with other people just, so people won't think bad about them. People are so worried about what other people think about them. It's a really sad thing, and he's really right about this, that, that's not something that I or you or me really want. That's not what we want. We don't want that. It's called peer pressure. It's called outside influences, what society thinks about us. I think that's the biggest detriment to the real me or the real I, is we're worried about what people say. What will the neighbors say? What will the community say about this, Obviously, do something really illegal or something really terrible, you should be worried what other people say, because there's laws and there's regulations and there's decency and morals and ethics in life. But if you're just worried about, that guy's such a, I want to be known as a big tzaddik, the nicest guy in the world, the greatest friend, right? People want to be known as these things. It doesn't gain you anything. It's just in my mind, this guy thinks good of him. So I pass him in the street. Oh, he's thinking good about me, and probably the guy's thinking, I want to meet for lunch, or, I really hate this guy. This guy, he bothers me all the time, he's thinking really what he wants to think about this guy, and not the guy has a good reputation. But the guy who thinks other people thinks he has a good reputation, he's probably thinking really good things. No, and other people don't think about you too much. I'm sorry to tell you, maybe they'll talk about you a little bit, but most people think about what they want with their lives, their needs, their desires, their problems. That's what people are thinking about. Most people think about themselves. They don't think, what a wonderful person is, what a wonderful tzaddik this guy is. Yeah, you ask the guy, yeah, he's a tzaddik, he's a wonderful, but no one cares about other people. You don't care. People care about themselves the most, right? And sorry, this is news. I hope it's not news to anybody. I hope you're in touch with yourself enough to know that most people, almost all people, only care about themselves. That's just, human nature. You care about, people closest to you. Second, hopefully it should be like that. Like your wife should be number 2, your kids number 3, maybe your parents number 4, siblings number 5. But, maybe friends number 6. But that's about it, basically. Those are people close to you. You should have a relationship with them. You should care about them. You should be considerate to them, and want to perpetuate that relationship. But the core of your existence should be about what's good for me. I'm sorry to say this sounds selfish, But the whole point of this book is to tell you that selfishness is not a bad thing. The real me. Who are you? Who do you want? Here he talks about conflicting desires. Which one is the real one? And he proposes it in a way, obviously smoking, the way it's condemned nowadays in society, and the health bears it out, is that it's not a good thing. And most people know it's not a good thing. And you buy those boxes, and you see the person, the lungs with the black lungs on the boxes. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it, but you can't stop, right? Because you're a cool guy when you were 7, when you're 13 years old. You were the coolest guy. You were smoking a pack a day. And all your friends are saying, "Oh, this guy's the coolest guy," and they're thinking, walking by, "Yeah, this coolest guy. He smokes a pack a day." So really, it's really not hard to, right? And he calls it two things: taiva and ratzon. He says taiva is things that you have a desire for, right? Your desire, but it's not really what you want. And ratzon is your will, or what you really want. That's what he says. And basically, we all know. He says we all know basically. The ratzon is the good thing that really I am, and the desire, the taiva, is something extraneous that I don't really need, that I want to get rid of. And you have to be a strong person and assert yourself and throw away the desire, the extraneous desire, and go for the want. I will add one thing over here. He defines taiva as something, a desire, and ratzon, or will, as something that you want, and that's a proper thing. I think the word ratzon, actually, the tzadi, you can change that to sound like a little like a shin, rashon, rationalize, ein davar omen mipnei ratzon. People think it's an amazing thing. This is not a chazal anywhere. Ein davar omen mipnei ratzon, this classical thing. Everyone thinks ratzon is the greatest thing in the world. But ritzoy and ratzon is really appeasing. When you're maratza someone, you maratza a king, you offer an apology to a king, or you give him money, or you pay him off, like they have in the church system, like Roman Catholic was called, and in order to get a pardon, you would give some money or something like that. What is that called? There's a word for it, I forgot it. And the Protestants were very against it. Martin Luther started Protestant movement. Evangelicals, most Christians are evangelicals in America, which is a form of Protestantism. That's the predominant Christianity there is in America. So basically, I forgot what it's called. Whatever, it's a read story. That's what it is. It's called rationalization. The Gemara says in Makos, the Gemara says, "Derech sh'adam rotzeh leilech bo molichan." So it's a great thing, right? If you have desire, right, you have the will. If there's a will, there's a way. You're gonna do it. They're taking you over there. Not a good thing. It's not a good thing, ratzon. I'm not saying he's wrong by the idea, but I will say that the true I is not your ratzon, your will, because the word will itself means, what is a will? A will is you write, I'm giving away, half my property to my sons and half my property to the Beis Yaakov. You're dead. It's like what you want after you die. When you rationalize, it's wrong, right? But you say that's even worse than a taiva. A taiva means like a desire. Tav in the Gemara, in the Torah, talks about the boundaries, right? A taiva creates boundaries in your life. It doesn't make you a free person. A free person is someone who does what he wants to do, what he really, really deep down desires to do. So there's two ways of coming to mistakes over it. One is a taiva, which is an extraneous desire, like desire to smoke or something like that, which creates boundaries in your life, makes you unhealthy. And then, or a person who really can't stop eating ice cream. He's eating ice cream all day. Ice cream is very good, don't get me wrong. I think people should eat more ice cream, but some people just take it to an extreme. So in one sense, taiva is a bad thing. And I think also a ratzon is a bad thing also. Ratzon is like rationalization, where, not only do we do what we don't want to do, but we rationalize it and say it's what we need to do. It's even worse than a taiva. Those two things are bad things, but I do think the real I stand up, the real I, who you really are, is what you want, is what makes you a free person. And it's really what you want, right? The problem is that the Torah world has been so infiltrated. I don't know the proper word to use. It's been almost ruined by a lot of the Musar Sfarim and a lot of the tone of the Shulchan Aruch. If you listen to my Shulchan Aruch Shira, I have an Ian Shulchan Aruch Shira where a lot of the things the Shulchan Aruch adds on, which are not found in the Gemara, and maybe a lot from the Zohar and things like that, where we're getting the wrong message in Judaism. We're getting the message that, and the best idea is to be machmir. The best idea is to err on the side of caution. Caution is to make as many isurim, knots. Isurim are knots on yourself to make yourself have the most boundaries possible in life. Free will is to be able to do, to be free. To be free is to do what you really want, and that involves enjoying the world. That's what everyone really wants, and human nature is basic human nature. Everyone knows is to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And asisa yashar v'atov, we think tov means to have good midos. No. Tov means ain't tov ela Torah. Ain't tov ela Torah. Torah is supposed to instruct you. The real Torah is supposed to, the sod of the Torah is supposed to instruct you enjoying life, how to enjoy life. That's the real Tov in the Mitzvah. We only have the drush, as I mentioned in chapter 2. We only have a partial understanding. Remez, a hint, right? We don't go with the remez. You don't take the remez literally, or you're Amelia Bedelia if you're taking the drush and the remez literally. Unfortunately, some of the things drush we have to take literally because we don't know any better. But you're basically Amelia Bedelia if you're taking literalism. Don't take everything so literal. Don't take the Kabbalists or literally. It's a remez for certain ideas, but it's supposed to, the direction really should be in the positive direction. We should be looking for as much pleasure as we can in life in the permitted fashion. That's why I say you should be looking into what ice cream flavors you like. You should be eating more ice cream. You should be buying nice designer clothes. You should want a nice car. You should want a comfortable house, not a crazy house with all these rooms that you don't need. That's just a headache to you to upkeep them. You should want a beautiful wife. These are things that make a person happy, and you should want these things, and these are of chief importance in the world, and you should be fair, yashar, you should be a fair person in business dealings, but besides that, when it's not business dealings, you should be a tov, and that's the point of the Torah, is look for positive, enjoyable things, right? The tone of the Musar Sfarim and the Shulchan Aruch is to avoid pleasures of this world as much as possible. That's the overtones you're getting when you're reading Musar Sfarim. Unfortunately, people, are exposed because of the Muslim movement has really, taken foothold in the Lithuanian world. Basically, you have to learn Musar a lot. Kolim give you extra money to learn Musar, or the Rabbanim force you to learn a Musar Sefer. Musar has to be taken with a grain of salt, a big grain of salt. You can't take this stuff literally. You will ruin yourself, and you'll go exactly do the opposite of what you want. And, when they have this term flipping out, and it is flipping out in a certain sense. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to go to yeshiva and to become more firm and more attached to the Torah, because if you leave the Torah and you're not learning Torah, then you're cut off from the source of Chaim. You're cut off from you have to have Torah in your life. You have to become a Torah. But you can't take it literally. You can't take these Musar Sfarim literally, and you can't take a lot of things Shulchan Aruch says literally, because at the end of the day, it'll push you to the wrong direction. It'll flip you out. Flipping in means what the normal world does and seeks pleasures. It seeks, but not in an illegal way. When you have a marriage, you shouldn't cheat on your wife because I'll enjoy it more. That is not the proper way to do it. It is not going to help you in life. It'll hurt you in the long run. So to look for shortcuts is not the answer. You have to do it and you have to build it. And if you do it in the right way, hopefully God will lead you to a place where you could actually find happiness. Is there anyone happy in the world? I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone truly happy. Maybe a couple of people. I would imagine most people are not happy in this world. That's Olam Hazeh. That's the world we live in. And Olam Haba will be a world of happiness. It says in the Constitution, right? Liberty. What does it say? Yesterday was July 4th. Pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty. What is the Constitution? Give you life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness. At least you should pursue it. You're probably not going to get the happiness. The one thing you can get is you can get serenity in this world. That's the only thing you really get. Happiness, enjoyment. Enjoyment on a continual basis is very difficult in this world, because in order for a person to be continually happy, continually joyous, every second of his life has to be filled with a different or another or an ascending type of happiness or joy, excitement, or euphoria. And there's so many things in life that are just boring, monotonous things that we have to do. Especially if you get married and you have kids, you have chores and you have things you have to do. It makes it very, very difficult. The older you get, very, very difficult to have that. So that's why it's so hard to have it. But hopefully, Moshe Mashiach will get there. We'll learn about the real Torah. We'll get to the Olam Haba, And Moshe Mashiach, I'm here, Rabbi Ameinu, Amen. See you in the next one.